Hi, this is Greg at Best Choice Trailers. Today I want to take you for a walk around a short track 7x14, 16,000 pound heavy duty low profile dump trailer. This particular unit's got the optional 8,000 pound axle upgrade as well as the telescopic hoist. We paired the two of these together because they make a great combination. The 8,000 pound axle upgrade gives you the heavier running gear that you would need for a heavier load for guys hauling stuff like dirt, stone, sand, etc. And then the telescopic hoist gives you the most premium hoist offered to get that load out of the bed. So let's take a look around the trailer. I'll show you some of the features equipped on this. So again, it's a 7 foot wide, or they call it that. It's actually about 82 inches wall to wall. It's 14 foot length, which is the longest short track offers the telescopic hoist in. And again, it's got the 8,000 pound running gear, which gives you the beefier tires, and we'll show you the rest of the running gear here in a second. So many manufacturers, when you do an 8,000 pound axle upgrade, generally speaking, leave everything the same except the running gear. On short track, when you go to the 8K axles, they give you the heavier coupler setup. You can either do it with a 4-bolt pintle or a 4-bolt 2 5/16 ball. They also go to a 12K jack. It's a bolt-on jack application. If you're not familiar with a 12K jack, it's got an inner leg that springs with a simple handle. There you see the bottom of it. And then the rest of the jack would be cranked via the sidewind handle. In the toolbox, we've got a larger pump than normal. That's because this is a power up gravity down, as are most telescopic hoists. So again, it's got a bigger reservoir, because in a power up gravity down, you're simply pushing the fluid out and then dumping it back in to the reservoir, unlike a power up, power down that's simply circulating the fluid. A Deca Deep Cycle Group 24 marine battery standard, as well as the new 110 volt chargers, which are standard. If you're not familiar, you simply would have a 110 volt house current plug you would plug an extension cord into. We recommend doing it over the course of a weekend, not something that you would do overnight. A long steady charge is going to keep from cooking the battery. They use a low amp hour charger, again, to give a better deep charge to the battery for a fully discharged battery. So a couple things Short Track does besides the jack and coupler. They actually go with a heavier wall frame. So they jump to an 8-inch tube tongue. You'll notice that tongue is a full wrap. It wraps back to the spring hanger. Some manufacturers would cut the tongue a little short, move their bulkhead farther forward, but again, on a telescopic, it's framed out a little different. You would lose the bulkhead that's typically in this area where your tongue would stop. On a telescopic, tongue wraps back farther. So they go to an 8-inch tongue. The main frame is a 6-inch, same as the 14K, but it's a heavy 1/4-inch wall frame. So they've gone to a thicker 6-inch tube frame. And then with telescopics, they go with the plate over the axles for additional reinforcement for weight bearing in that area. So Short Track Standard does a underbody tool tray, which is a nice little tray to catch some of your straps or your picks and shovels and the different tools that you would need to carry. Underneath, they do a set of ramps. One nice touch that they do on the end of the ramps, you'll see they have a 1/2-inch plate. We used to have a manufacturer that used a 1/4-inch plate on the end, and it took a while, but so we had some customers that would bend them. These 1/2-inch plate ramps, we have yet to have a failure at the end of the ramp there where the load bears on the back end of the trailer, and then the piece of tube would simply keep it from pulling away from the trailer. Another detail Short Track does, this is a 4-inch tube bed frame, again a heavy wall tube. You'll notice that crossmember fills the whole tube, so it's a 4-inch crossmember, not a traditional 3-inch crossmember that you would see a lot of times. You also notice that they do a double broke fender instead of a single broke. As part of the 8,000 pound axle running gear, you're going to see that it's got an oil bath hub. It's also got a solid wheel with a 17.5 rubber. The 17.5 rubber is a 16 ply tire, so it's got a lot stiffer sidewall than a traditional tire, but then it's also got about twice the tread depth of a normal 10-ply radial tire. We'll try and focus in there. It's a very deep tread design. You also got a heavier spring set and a heavier axle tube whenever you go to these 8K axles. So a couple other features that we like about Short Trac that are standard on all trailers, not just the 8K axle upgrade trailer, would be the spare tire mount, standard, as well as this integrated body stiffener. Now, the body stiffener not only adds strength, also gives it a nice clean look. You'll notice that the body stiffener is formed into the trailer, not welded on. So some manufacturers will splice it and weld it, they'll stitch weld it there, and acid rain gets in, and it just looks a little bit unsightly over time because you get rust streaks and that coming down it. This one's formed in, so not only is it very strong, but it also stays looking nice down the road. You'll notice they give stake pockets to build your sides up. So at the front and rear, you've got a bulkhead that you can easily drop a 2x12 down into. They've got pockets going down the sides that if you'd like to reinforce or build them higher than a foot, you can do that. Notice the stake pockets are about double the height, but they're also deeper. They come all the way back to the wall and then go against the body stiffener. It's a nice touch. A couple other things on these 16Ks. They take the time to reinforce the backside of the spring hanger there. Give some extra support to that area. You also notice they do a little bit heavier plating on the hinges. They put a grease zert on, they cap the end of the tube frame. Back to the rear of the trailer, they put grease zerts on the hinges. They do a combo spreader door, undermount ramps. Notice the ramps will adjust almost the full width of the trailer. Short Trac uses all LED lights with a sealed wiring harness ran in frame. One of the nice benefits, these LED lights you see at the back, they're kept up about eyeball level of somebody that's in a car instead of being tucked underneath like you often see the lights, which just make them harder to see, especially for anybody that's in a taller vehicle or a truck. Also notice their ramps are rear pull-out undermount ramps. They're not a side mount ramp. Undermount ramp certainly is a lot more functional. So let's walk back up to the front. I want to talk a little bit more about the hoist. So we optioned this with a telescopic hoist. Short Trac makes a dual ram, a scissor, and a telescopic. There's not a tremendous price difference between the hoists. Dual ram is standard pricing. That would be your cheapest. Dual ram's certainly a good setup. It works for what most everybody needs it to do. The scissor works very similar to a dual ram. So both a scissor and a dual ram are basically horizontally mounted that are trying to go vertical. So when you do that, you're redirecting force, and the frame via the bulkhead is going to absorb a decent amount of that stress. On a telescopic hoist, it's just like a semi-rig or a big dump truck. It's a vertical mounted hoist at the very front. So one thing a scissor achieves over a dual ram's generally going to mount to the frame at about the midpoint, almost always, all sizes, it always pretty much mounts at the midpoint. A scissor gets more leverage, it gets a little bit more stroke, so it gets mounted farther forward. Generally, it's about the front side of the fender. It gets about 3 more feet of leverage. A dual ram's about 40% efficient, a scissor's about 60. But this telescopic hoist is so much more efficient than either one. One thing it gets is a lot more leverage because it's mounted at the front. And secondly, not only is it mounted at the front, which gives you a lot more leverage, but it's also mounted vertical, so it's not trying to redirect and waste a lot of the energy or force that's needed on a dual ram or a scissor. It's very efficient. The other thing a dual ram can't do is reset its hydraulic pressure. So it needs to be set at a pressure needed for the maximum load to get started. So in most cases, a dual ram might take 2,800 PSI to get started. So that's what they're going to set the pump at for the max. This here, they can set at a lower pressure and still dump everything the trailer's legally rated for. So on this one, because it's a higher GVW trailer with the upgraded axles, they're running 3,000 PSI, which is still lower than the norm. Generally speaking, dump trailers are rated to 3,200 PSI on the hoist. That's what most hoists are rated to. So this is lower than normal, but yet it'll still dump well in excess of what the trailer is designed to do. So the hoist has 3 stages. It's going to be a little bit slower in first stage, and then it's going to get quicker as it goes up because the girth would go down, which means the fluid amount will decrease as it goes up. Also, as the load shifts to the rear, it doesn't need that thicker stroke on the cylinder, so it can neck down a little bit and become faster. So again, the telescopic hoist, between having the leverage, being vertical, trying to go vertical, being a power up, gravity down, all the above make this particular hydraulic system a great choice for an 8K axle upgrade. You get a lot of dump cycles per battery charge out of this system, and it's definitely a hoist that'll serve a trailer like this well. Some options you can get on this. This can be done in a gooseneck. Again, telescopic, 14 foot's the longest you can get it in. We can do a few different things like a spare tire, tarp kit, wireless remote, etc. If you have any questions about the trailer or any of our other trailers, give us a ring. We'll be happy to help you out. 717-220-4220, or visit us on the web at bestchoicetrailers.com.